So the next person had this to say: I wish they would stop making me responsible for my siblings. I can't even take care of myself. Also, shouldn't they really find a way to earn an upkeep instead of expecting me to send them money because they took me through school? Is it okay to tell your parents to stop sleeping around? It's embarrassing, honestly. I can't even go home because of how they carry themselves. Mimi niko na anger mob na parents wangu aki acha tu. That is someone saying, I have a lot of anger towards my parents, just leave it alone. And this is someone who, first of all, was not given the attention they needed when they were young. Their parents have parentified them, made them seem like they're the parent. They are more responsible than the parent themselves. And then, when you're put in that position, you become resentful. But then in this life, if you ever have to do something that you don't want to do or you didn't have to do, or something where you realize the other person is not holding their own weight, you then get resentful. And that's something I feel, I don't think I felt it as much because I told you my mom was more hands-on. Those people who, she's a pusher, like you have to do this, read, wake up at this time, So me, I was more pushed. And it's the same, sometimes it has the same effect. You're so pushed that you become resentful, or your parents just are so neglectful and so laid back that you have to take up so much and you get resentful. Because no one wants to do too much and no one wants to. It's the same. If you're pushed, you do too much. If your parents are laid back, you also do too much. So it can have the same effect. And we all need to heal, by the way. We all need to heal, because if you realize you're too angry towards your parents, and that's something I had. I can't lie, actually. I just woke up and I'm talking this nice and being like, oh, positive vibes. No. There's a time I was so angry with my mother. I was so angry with my family. I was like, you guys need to know how angry I am. And I would always talk about it. And we would always fight. We would argue. We would throw words at each other. And I would be like, hey, I have to go. And I'd be like, you always want to go. You don't want to talk about this. You don't want to solve it. But through and through, she has been very gracious to just come and understand that me, I'm that feeling person, and her, she's just that thinking person. If you do a personality test, you'll realize there are people who are more thinking and there are some who are more feeling. Now, ukipata your child is maybe a thinking type, you're a feeling type, you irritate your kid, they're like, kwani ufikiri? Most people who are more thinking than feeling, they think people who feel hawana akili. Like, where, what is your job just feeling without thinking? But then, that's who we are. As we're here feeling the vibes, we're like, here it feels strange. Or here, I feel like I'm not good. So it's good to be considerate of each other's personality, whether you're the parent or you're the child. So let's see what the other person said. I always wished my mom would apologize for things she did when I was a child. She has been doing it over the recent years in doses, and we have a better relationship and we don't keep stuff in. That apology thing has come up over and over again. Yeah, it has come up over and over again. And let me tell you, I think this is an interesting point to put this. And I also sometimes feel like that. Like, I wish my mom would apologize for some things. My mom is a lovely mother. When I got pregnant, the thing she told me when I went to announce my pregnancy to her, because you see, I was really scared. I'd even gone for counseling, zile za hospitali, and the lady had even taken me to another girl who had a child and told me, hey, if your mom chases you away, you will come, nini. She had prepared me. But when I went home, nothing prepares you for breaking news to a parent that you're pregnant as a teenager. And when I told her that news, she didn't talk a lot. Now, it's ironic because you see, my mom is those people who will shout. She's very proactive. But at this point, she just chuckled. Then she said, I think she processed. She asked me a few questions like, who is the dad? Are you getting married? Only two questions. Then later on, she told me, I will only support you, because after I told her the news, I told her I will need your support. She told me, I will only support you if you go back to school, and if you continue with school. Yeah, that's how I ended up going to school when I was 7 months pregnant, guys, because my mom was this supporter of school. And that's why sometimes it's really important to see the positive side of these parents, because you're also a person. You need to realize because if my mom didn't push me to go to school at that point, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be speaking about these things as passionately as I do and as positively as I do. I would still be angry and be like, so sometimes I do wish there was an apology. No, so the apology, actually, now let me bring it into perspective. So during my pregnancy, I believe my mom was very angry. Yeah, she told me even, I have spoiled the plan she had for me. The plan she had for me to do A, B, C, D. Nilikuwa nime scribble. And she's like, you have spoiled my plan. And I'm like, what do you mean your plan? This is my life. Okay, I didn't tell her. But now that statement played out in my whole pregnancy. She would talk back to me. She would say things. And luckily, my mood was so positive. People are always like, pregnant women are really, they are really bad. They have hormones. But I was a good person. Yani nilikuwa na roho safi. A clean heart. I don't know if it's because I was pregnant with a boy, but a clean heart. So I never used to even feel. We'll still go back, we watch movies together, and aniongelesha vibaya na rude. I wouldn't really carry it. But sometimes I feel bad because I remember some of the things she'd say and I'm like, hey, what? Yeah, it was just a mistake. But I thank God I was in a very good mood during my pregnancy, like all through. The thing I wanted to ask for, I would have wanted apology. So when I went to give birth, I was 18 and pregnant, guys. Nimeenda labor. My mom told me. So she came to the hospital. She took me to the hospital. She asked the nurse, can I go to work? I mean, still labor. Apo. Can I go to work? I'm like, how can you go to work and leave me here? She's like, the world goes on. You're here, but the world goes on. And now I was so scared, guys. And that time she had told me, there's a friend of mine who had passed away during my pregnancy and he was announced on TV. And I told her, gosh, Aki, it's so sad he died. She told me, yeah. And just know that giving birth is the closest you come to death. Sasa nishashtuka. Hiyo ameniacha huko. Now I'm thinking, okay, now I'm gonna, I'm going. Because I'm alone. There's no one here to support me. My mom has told me life has to move. That her work can't stop because. And then it's so interesting. So I stayed there. Of course, God is. Msiaifikiria mko peke yenu. When your parents do these things, they are still praying. It's just that they are, I think, uncomfortable. I would say she was not comfortable with the situation. Now I can see. Now I can see and be like, Aki, she was like, Aki mtu ananibisha tu yani. Me, I don't want to be here. So, even if she came to visit me, I gave birth at 11 p.m. that day. I called her. I told her, oh, hi, I gave birth. She's like, oh, you don't sound like you gave birth. I'm like, how am I supposed to sound like? Anyway, it was just an awkward conversation. Then I told her, will you come in the morning for visiting hour? She's like, no, I have to work. I'll come. I'll come in the evening. Aki, I can laugh about it. But that time, Aki, you guys, I was feeling like, why me? Like, why does she not care? She came in the evening. Again, I think awkwardness. This whole situation was very awkward for her. Thank you, mom, for being a gracious woman to just try and do what you can. So she came for the visiting at 4 p.m. And you know what she does? She takes the child. Luckily, I had some friends there. She came and took the child and sat at the corner. So she didn't talk to me. She's like, hi. She gave me, she brought my snacks. And then, akakaa like kwa corner. And then, akakaa na mtoto, she looked at the child. Then she brought him back. Didn't talk to me. Where? Outside. Because I was told I have to stay another day. And then she texts me, oh, he's handsome. So, but I was just like, Aki God. Yani, this is how now she's treating me. Cold. Yeah? And people like telling me, oh, Ivana, you're cold. Guys, I have been in the hands of a very nice lady who, So when you say I'm cold, it's not sikutaka. Sometimes circumstances, So sometimes you want apologies, but her, she can't see the problem. So she took me to hospital. She paid the bill. She came for me. She bought everything I needed. I was not working. At least I had the finances, number one, and also education. Yeah? Because now I still went back to school after I gave birth. So, as we complain now, then they're saying you're ungrateful. But let me just encourage you. No matter what you feel and no matter what someone has done, sometimes the feeling is still there. I would just want to encourage someone in the same situation, teenage pregnancy, just also, I know it's hard, it's scary. Just look for your own support system because your parents might not have the grace enough. But if you find people around, because me, I was so gracious, God was so gracious to me that I got like other moms. People who are so lovey-dovey. I told you in my school, the school I went to for psychology at 7 months, they were loving. They were just, God doesn't leave you. That's why I say my anchor is God. When I say that, I'm not that religious. Even when you come for counseling to me, I won't force you to believe in God. But in my life story, God has been there. So I've always had people around me and they take care of me. And yeah, I've never felt, sina watu, niko na watu. Yeah, hata uko na watu, yeah. Don't feel alone. So let's continue with the comments. Yeah, so this one says, if I had a chance to speak to my mom, I would tell her she was a great mom to me and my brother, but not my elder sister. Let me read it again. If I had a chance to speak to my mom, I think she's late, I would tell her she was a great mom to me and my brother, but not my elder sister. Have you seen that in your families? A black child, the black sheep. Then there's the golden child, ule anapendwa sana. So she says, which I think it has affected her until today. It's like all anger used to go to her and she really hated her. I always wonder what my sister did to her, yet she was just a child. Right now, I try to be a good mother to my daughter because I wouldn't want her to feel unloved as our first. So parents, favorites. I know sometimes there are kids who just touch your heart. Wanaku each tu vizuri. And you feel like, if you look at it, you're like, this child. Blessing upon blessing. You're like, this is the good child. But what about the other child? And sometimes children don't live up to your expectation. They don't live up to the things that you wanted them to do, to be like, to talk like. Some kids go and say, no, me I want to be a musician. Me I want to be a... It's fine. Stop putting kids in boxes and saying, mimi nataka mtoto wangu akue hivi. Na kama yuko hivi, yes, impendi. It's by the very hurtful, and I've had so many people talk about this. Those children who feel outcast, maybe they're not pretty enough. Can you imagine your parent making you feel not pretty enough, not handsome enough? That maybe you're too dark, maybe maybe you're too thin, you're too fat. It's because of that one. I just thank God. Mamangu akufika hapo. Ile tu hakuniambia but at the time I think we were trying to add weight. My mom was on a fattening program for me. But it was not that bad. Like I never felt bad about my body. If you're a parent, please avoid speaking ill of your child's weight to them, your child's appearance. It matters what you say, and you're the one who's being their first bully. Can you imagine your parent being your first bully? Yani they're bullying you hadi, ukenda uko nje, you're just attracting bullies because even in the house you're with bullies. The next person says, to my stepdad. Yeah, and this step-parent issue is a long issue, but let's listen to her. To my stepdad, what if you had tried to be my friend instead of seeing me as a burden? You could have tried to teach me things. We could have gone to see plays. You would have taught me Shakespeare. We would have written poetry together. I craved your approval until I just did not care anymore. That's why our home died with my mother. Because you never really considered me your family. Just a responsibility you had to shoulder. And that's why it is easy for you to walk away and cut ties with us. Or, well, maybe you will start a new family that you actually like. People you get along with who are not a burden to you. This is so sad because I'm thinking, okay, if you're a step parent, you need to also make your child feel loved. And I think as a step parent, you need to go the extra mile. It's not the same as if this is your natural or your biological child, because this will come naturally. Or rather, they'll feel, a sense of belonging. But if you came to a family and you're the step parent, I think you would need to put effort and show that, okay, yeah, I really need to put some effort here and there. If you're not putting effort as a step parent, it's really hard for this child even to just open up naturally. Even those who are putting effort out here, but then the step parents out here who are putting effort, big up. And it's hard. Even when you're putting effort in a kwanga ngumu, So when a child is saying this, they could see your lack of effort. And I mean, please do better. The next person said, if there was one thing I was lucky to have in this life, it was the opportunity to have my mother say sorry for the things that happened in childhood. She left us behind in the search of the American dream, but sometimes things don't turn out as they're supposed to. Do they? She passed away. Do they? Do they turn out as we're supposed to? Or as we hope to? Maybe not. She passed away earlier this year, and may she continue resting in peace. I am grateful I got to share what my heart really felt before she left. However, there was still so much left unsaid, so many hugs I could not give, and so many tears I still needed to cry. Yani parents are out here doing the most. They're going looking for the, money. Sometimes also I think our current generation, our parents or even the previous, the Gen X, our parents were really looking for money, and so sometimes you didn't have enough time to spend with your parent, and so your parent has to compensate these things. And as she's saying, there were so many things left unsaid, so many hugs I could not give, and so many tears I still needed to cry. So at the end of the day, I still feel whoever you are, wherever you are, your childhood might have been painful. Your parent-child relationship is either the best thing that happened to you or the worst thing that happened to you. So you either need to heal from it or support others to have a better experience. Last but not least, I got this message just as I was about to do this episode. It says, "My late dad, I am sorry for the past years I wasn't there for you." So I believe this person wanted the dad, if the dad was alive, the dad would say, "I am sorry for the past years I wasn't there for you." So this person felt they needed support that they didn't get, and they wish the dad was there to support them. So some of us didn't have dads all through. Some of us had dads who hurt them. Some of us have dads who died early than we had hoped they would. And life is not ideal. We can't, and the last thing I'd like to say is that this parent-child relationship conversation is just for you to know it's never an ideal situation. We can't force people to be the way we want them to be, but we learn how to give each other grace. So learn how to give yourself grace, first of all, give your parents grace, and heal from whatever that made you angry, sad, or pained. Let's heal together, and hopefully you'll watch my next episode at the ChWo. And my name is Ivana Aweru. Thank you so much for being with us and spending your time here.